Sweet, sweet. Well, yeah, we're gonna give it to like 9:10. Let's get some more people in here. Giancarlo's already here, ready to rock. Looking like the Mexican Tarzan, ready to go.
Right? I'm jealous of all that hair.
Look at
Right?
that guy right there. I have it right here. I just don't have it on my head.
All right, I get the sneak. Oh,
You got the filter on, huh? That Snapchat filter that everybody's using right now.
yep.
My lady
You
put
got
that
me.
on me. It was so funny. Like it looks exactly like how you do right now. Beard and I was just bald. It was funny. But yours is not a filter.
No.
Yeah, man. What's up, Tech and Chris, Cassandra, Devin, Bill, everybody, Eunice, damn, there's everybody here. We're gonna have a good turnout today. It's gonna be good.
Happy Saturday, everybody.
Yeah, first of the
Saturday.
month.
Heck,
What?
You
wake
guys
up.
ready, dude? It's October. You guys ready to crush it this month?
Ooh,
Yes,
I
Yes, sir.
gotta kill it.
Spooky.
Heck
This
yeah.
is gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy to do. Let's crush this. Especially right now with, hey Ace, come here. Especially right now with the economy shifting and a lot of people not being able to afford, new homes with interest rates, and a lot of people are going to be renting. There's going to be a lot of people going into pre-foreclosure or foreclosure over the next 12 months to 18 months. So this strategy that you're going to learn is going to be very good for you guys, because first off, a lot of people just don't know how to work probate, or just don't know how to work pre-foreclosure. And so usually when they come across a lead like that, they just leave it. Right here, you're going to learn that you can make some of the best deals off of it. I bought a deal in pre-foreclosure on the water in Florida. I mean, the house isn't fucked up. Thank God it didn't touch that side of Florida in the hurricane. But I was able to get a house for like, just to pay the realtor fee was like 11 grand and like $7,700. The house was built last year or something. And so it was like, I got this pretty much nice home for like $17,000 down or whatever in Newport Richey on the water. It was dope. Pre-foreclosure, right? But I knew the questions to ask. I knew how to prepare it and everything. Giancarlo kind of set me up for it. And it was easy in and out of the deal. We closed on it on the 7th of this month. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Okay.
I have 3 deals that I bought in pre-foreclosure. Really, basically, most of them are in a depressed state. So most of them don't ask for much money because they understand where they are. And so usually you're paying some type of wholesaler or some type of agent, or if you're the one direct to it, you're either paying a little bit of money down and closing costs, and you get a whole house. Super cool.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Nice. Good boys. Okay. Let me cry. You guys have any questions? Before we start, we'll give another 5 minutes or so to get more people in here. Does anybody have any questions? Any simple things, acquisitions, wholesale questions, creative finance questions?
Yeah, I have some questions if you don't mind.
Of course I know. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So I was gonna go I'm in San Antonio. I was gonna go door knocking. There's a lot of houses that are gonna get foreclosed on Tuesday. And I'm like, and I know we can still stop the foreclosure because I had talked to Giancarlo. I know one of the options are they could file for bankruptcy. But I guess I don't know what other options are there that I could help someone that close. You know what I mean? To when their auction date is Tuesday morning.
Oh, how to do it? Yeah, Giancarlo, what would be the best way? Just to pay the arrears? Stop it?
What's up, Brandon? Good to see you, man.
What's up?
Yeah, other options, it depends. Like when it's that close, it depends on the servicer, to be honest with you. So the servicer is actually single-handedly the most important aspect of foreclosure. And that's what I think most people don't know. And so what me and a couple of guys have actually done to get an edge on the whole space is target the right servicers. Because if I know that 10 out of 10 times I can stop the auction the day before, why would I not target that servicer? So that would kind of answer that question, Brandon. So I mean, but generally speaking, best case scenario, best servicer, you can stop it with bankruptcy. Yeah, you can stop it with COVID forbearance, which should be ending soon. Any day now it can end, but it's still active right now. It's still
Okay.
floating. The feds haven't put a halt to it. COVID forbearance, that's the most OP option right now. And I'll touch on that later, but that's the option that I've been just leveraging like crazy. Aside from that, you can postpone it with the contract. You know, you would have to send it in like right now today, send in a purchase and sales agreement, proof of funds, depending on the servicer, a HUD-1 settlement statement.
Yeah.
And that'll stop the contract for about 30 days. You would send it and then follow up the next day. And that could be one way to also possibly stop it, but some servicers won't. They're what I call whack servicers. They don't stop it for any reason. So stop tailing is kind of an answer to every single problem with foreclosure. But normally those would be kind of the ways. So bankruptcy, purchase and sales agreement, or COVID forbearance. Those would be one of the main ways. Or you could do a TRO, which is like a restraining order in a sense against the lender.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so like one, because I did thank you so much. You did help me with that one woman when I messaged you on Facebook. But what the servicer was asking for the HUD and all that stuff. And I'm brand new, and I was like, man, I don't even know how to get a hold of that. She ended up, so she does have a buyer, her daughter's buying the house. So she was able to share like the closing documents from the title and all that stuff. But like, I guess, how do you even get a hold of a HUD? Forgive me for my ignorance, but like, yeah, how do you
No,
even
no.
get a hold of a HUD,
Yeah, absolutely. Every question is accepted, man. I mean, the HUD-1, so the HUD-1 settlement statement it's actually a form you could download online on Google, to be honest with you.
Okay.
You just put it on Google, HUD-1, HUD-1 settlement statement. I think will pop up one of the first two links.
Okay.
And you just click on it, fill it out, and just fill it out the best of your ability. They just kind of want to see something, the servicers. They're not
Okay.
analyzing, and they're not like trying to prove you wrong. Like even when you call into the bank or servicer, like the agent's not trying to like figure you out your situation. They just want to get to the next call.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Ooh, just a couple more minutes. We're getting ready to rock.
Hey, I got a question real quick. Joe,
Sure, go for it.
it's about are you familiar with the my or California mortgage relief?
Yeah. HAF
Okay.
program.
Right. So I'm actually working with the seller right now. He's waiting on that to get approved. And I mean, he got it listed on the market right now. So he was just gonna sell the house and pay off all the arrears. But then I approached him with just a hybrid, and now he's really for it. But then like he told me about the relief program thing, and I told him, I was like, I think it might be best for us just to wait to see if you get approved or not. So I mean, where would you guys take it from this point? Like, would you guys just try to pay off the arrears and just try to lock it down, or would you guys just wait for it? But because he has it on the market too, so I don't want him to lose it too, like lose the price that he wants.
Yeah, it depends. Is this a lead that you're trying to take over, or is it you're just like helping him?
I'm trying to take over. I'm trying to do a hybrid on this one.
You have it under contract already?
No, not yet. So that's the thing.
Okay.
I was actually
That's one
talking
issue.
to him.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just talking to him and just trying to come out with some solutions. But as of right now, I just told him like, hey, it's probably best just to wait for the relief program, and then after that, we could probably put a contract in there or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the state program will work, man. It takes on average like 2 to 3 months from the time of applying to the time of like, the state program actually dispersing the funds. It takes like 2 to 3 months. It takes a while. If it's one of the pillars, if they're like time frame by which they're wanting to sell, they can wait that out. It doesn't sound like Is there an auction date with him or anything like that?
There was an auction day on the 12th of this month, but then he reached out to his mortgage company, and you know, they were the one that actually referred him to the program, and he said that they extended the auction day and everything. Yeah,
Okay,
he was. Yeah,
yeah, no, it's risky, man. I mean, if the state program covers his arrears, he may just bail on you, you know? So you're gonna
yeah,
have to deal with that risk. That's the thing. So,
okay,
That is one thing that can happen when you help people out in these stages. So as long as you're transparent with them and you know you're there to bring value, a question that I always ask is like, hey, even after I go and do this, because the reality is I'm most likely I'm gonna have to have you do some of this stuff. And once these arrears are cleared, like once all your debt, you have that choice to walk away. Is that what you're looking to do? Or are you still looking to sell it to me? Or another question would be, even after we clear these arrears, are you still going to be able to move forward and afford it every month after that? Because most of them are still having an issue, right? That's why they couldn't catch up. But there are going to be some stories where you'll help somebody out and then they'll walk away from you, or ghost you because you just cleared their arrears, you know? So this is sometimes, sometimes it happens, not all the time, because most of the time these people are still in debt and they're still having issues. And so like it didn't happen to any of the deals I worked on, but in certain scenarios, if you were able to actually clear off your arrears, like through some type of loan modification, they have that opportunity to walk away. With this one, if the COVID forbearance leaves and there's still a good amount of arrears owed, then it's harder for them to walk away when we're actually buying it with the arrears. You know, it's a little bit different.
all right.
Cool.
Oh, okay. So what if would you be able to put him under a contract and say, just because I know I talked to Mamadou about this, and he said, you know, because I was trying to do a rap on it, and he said usually whenever he does a rap, he'll like lock somebody down on a contract for 90 days, and then have like a marketing period for that 90 days, and just be transparent with them, and you know, just tell him like, hey, I'm gonna market this to my list and everything. I'm gonna have this contract for 90 days, and you know, basically the end buyers is gonna bring in the down payment to cover like the entry fee, which I mean, you know, I was thinking about telling him like, you know, I'll give you this amount regardless if you know, the arrears is covered or not by the program, you know. So
I do a lot of raps and with raps, like if your down payment is low enough is when you can assign it in like I have a deal that I'm working on right now. If we lock it up today or Monday, I already have all the photos. I know that I can sell it in the as is condition for market price because I can wrap it. And so if they were to agree to it and sign, all I'm gonna do it's only like an entry fee of basically 5 or 7,000, 9, like $11,000 plus closing costs. I can get that from a wrap buyer because that's not much, right? So like in 30 days, I could literally start marketing it. Like once I get the signature, I can start marketing the photos, start marketing the price I want. And let's say I find somebody in 2 weeks and they're ready to move in by the close of escrow, and they have I put, hey, I'm looking for 15 grand down. Then at the close of escrow, you can just meet them. So Mamadou's probably doing that for 90 days to give himself a window. But
yeah,
in scenarios too, like where let's say you need more than $25,000 down and you think, you know what, you might not find an end buyer and a wrap end buyer that has that much money to give down, but you have a good spread from purchase price to ARV, just get a fucking lender in there. Just buy it, like lock it up in 30 days, you know, lock it up, close in 30 days, get your lender, get a lender in there, put his fee on top or whatever, and then work through it. And if you have to get your lender out in 6 months or whatever your goal is, that's how I do a lot of mine. Like if my assignment, or if my entry fees are too high for what I think a wrap buyer can put down on a house, I just go and get a lender in there. And then that means I can't hold the note though, because I most likely have to sell the note, right? So like instead of me like, oh, walking away from a deal because the amount of money down is too much and I'm only thinking I have to assign it to a wrap buyer. No, you can think like if I'm buying a house for 100 grand, but it's worth 200 grand and I'm all in 230 or 240 or something, maybe 230, then I can go and borrow whatever money I need down. And then I can sell it on a wrap, get some money down, and then sell the note in the back. and then get cashed out for the remaining equity and then pay out my lender. Now I won't be holding the note, but at least I got the deal done and I still made some change instead of walking away from it. Now there are some times where I have to do that because I don't have a lender that's going to give me the length that I need for it to make sense. Like if I'm gonna hold something and I have a lender that's not giving me a long term, I have to figure it out how to get them out. So sometimes I have to just sell the house or sell the notes and be out of the deal instead of holding it, even though I want to hold it. But as a business professional, I'm not going to let a deal slide for any reason. I'm going to pick up, even if I'm not going to hold it. If I'm going to make 10, 20, 30 grand on it from selling it on a wrap and then exiting the note, then I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right here, guys. We're gonna get Giancarlo started. It's his spouse. It's his wife's birthday, so let's move through this pretty much quickly so he can go on and have a good time. But Giancarlo, when you're ready, just introduce yourself. Let everybody know where you're located, what you do, if you're in any mentorships, and then when you're ready, just go into this strategy that you put together. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna put myself on mute. Thank you.
Cool. What's going on, guys? So thank you first and foremost to Carlos Ruiz for having me in Powerhouse. You guys have seen thank you, man. Thank you. It's just thank you. You guys have seen how Powerhouse has grown in such a short period of time, and it's just really, blowing up. So honored to be on here. Carlos is sub 2. I know a lot of you guys are probably from different groups besides sub 2. I'm in sub 2. I specialize mainly in foreclosure, and that's the reason why we're here today, because I just deal with foreclosure. So quick background context is, for my W-2, I'm a loss mitigation agent. So I do it for a living, whether I want to or not. As long as I have my coffee, I can get through the day. But I have to help people with foreclosures. It's the coffee Cassandra. I have to help people with foreclosures. I have to help people with stopping auctions. I have to help people with, picking the best option for them, always dealing with arrears, payoffs, reinstatement payoffs, deferrals, partial claims, half, just options. And so kind of my story is I came into sub 2 and I noticed that in the area of foreclosure that there was a lot of lack. There was a lot of emptiness, and there wasn't a lot of substance. There was just so much missing information, confusion. People didn't know really like much about foreclosure. Even in the sub 2 community, all I saw was loan mods and short sales. And it kind of just struck me like a revelation. Have you ever had like an epiphany in just about life, one area or another, like one topic like that? I'm like, man, everyone here is like just pushing loan mods and short sales. And it's probably because that's just the only thing they've ever heard of. And it's just the most basic option, but there's so many more other options with foreclosures. And so I started kind of just posting some ideas or some like strategy ideas of what things you can do. And it took off, and I realized, wow, yeah, foreclosure is an area that where we, need a little more help on. So thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate your attendance here, and it'll be worth it. So a little on the topic today is, you guys probably heard stop tailing. And now this is a very, very simple strategy. The thing with stop tailing is that it's just that, it's a strategy. It's nothing special, but it's a strategy I feel like that can be exploited. And you guys will probably be the first people to really just, I guess, zero in on it. Some people do it whether they know it or not, but it's something that's worth looking at. So let me see if I can share my screen here.
You should be able to.
I got it. Yeah. All right. You guys can see it? Cool.
Yes, we can see it.
Cool. So yeah, I put here stop tailing, the perfect substitute for COVID forbearance. Now, to understand that title and subtitle, you kind of have to understand COVID forbearance. So right now, guys, COVID forbearance is still an option. But does anybody even know what COVID forbearance is? Any interaction? Anybody can give me an idea on like maybe what they know of COVID forbearance?
Yeah, we did it for our house. So in 2020, what they did was they took the portion that we didn't pay and put on the back end of our loan. So I know some people got dinged for it, and it was dependent on the servicer, because our friend did it too. And then when theirs ended, they owed 30 grand that had to come up with right away.
Yeah, so Those are, so what you explained was perfect. Those are post-COVID forbearance options. So those are options they do when you're ready to come off the forbearance. If her credit was affected, it's probably because she got onto the program already behind. That's usually the only reason for that. But normally if you get onto the program current, you'll come off current. But COVID forbearance is basically a program the government's had since COVID, March 2020, where you get up to like 6 months. At one point, it was up to a year and a half, where the borrower doesn't have to pay anything. Like they don't have to pay anything, and their credit will be suppressed in the meantime. Also, there'll be no late charges while they're on the program. And the reason why this is so powerful is, this is good for regular homeowners who are, struggling, but how can we use that in sub two, right? How can we use that to our advantage? Well, what most people didn't know that I kind of try to like throw into sub two is that you can actually stop auctions with COVID forbearance, and you can stop them for up to 6 months. So when I realized that this was an auction stopping option, because I do it for work, I'm like, man, why don't I target properties where there's high amounts of equity in there? I'm talking about high appreciating items, houses like in markets like California, Texas, whatever, Idaho, Washington, you name it. And why don't I get these sellers like a week or two before the auction? Why? Because they're going to be really motivated, right? And normally with foreclosure deals, as you guys know, it's some of the most lucrative deals. Like with foreclosure deals, these are the type of deals where, as Carlos mentioned, you're getting bangers. You're able to get most times 0K down, 5K down. What if there's hundreds of thousands, you can get away with 25K down or better. So I'm like, let me target people like this, because I'm going to be able to get 2 to 3 to 400, or what I'm doing personally, California, you see upwards of $500,000 of equity in these houses, just because of the whole COVID surge. These prices doubled. It's a little crazy. And let me target these people 1 or 2 weeks before the auction date and just request a COVID forbearance for them. The key is to get it under contract, right? I think it was Mike who asked earlier, with the state program, it's good to help the seller, but I mean, if you have to think about yourself in the deal business wise. You want to make sure you're getting it under contract, because if I postpone it for 6 months for the average person, they're going to bail on you. I promise you they're going to bail. I know the personalities and behaviors of these people. I've been dealing with them for years, and they're good people. They're really, really good people. But like any other rational being, they're going to think for themselves a little. If you're gonna postpone it for them 6 months and they have 500K of equity in there, they're going to bail on you and just put it back on the market themselves. So the whole idea behind COVID forbearance, I tried giving it a fancy name. I called it forb tail. I didn't know what else to come up with. The whole idea with forb tailing was just postponing it 6 months for them under contract and then putting it on the market yourself. Now, keep in mind, this is something you can still do. So the feds, like I mentioned earlier, anytime now, they're going to cut it off. They're going to say, all right, no more COVID forbearance. Some servicers, a lot of them are still doing it. So all you have to do is call into the bank, and we can discuss this in length later with questions, but all you have to do is call in the bank and literally tell them you want COVID forbearance. It's not hard. And they'll say, okay, were you impacted by COVID? And all I say is, yeah, I was impacted physically and also financially, loss of income. And that's it. So, but the issue is that COVID forbearance is going away, right? COVID forbearance is going to go away soon. And so I was like, man, the strategy is so lucrative. I need to find a substitution for it. So that's where stop tailing was kind of birthed. It's the perfect substitute for it. It really is. And we'll go into it. Super, super simple, I promise. But COVID forbearance is still here. So guys, use it. I actually just closed on the deal last Wednesday with Abraham Gray on a forb tail deal. So we just got it under contract for 50K. A seller wanted 35K. And then Abraham bought it for like 150 something. And it was really worth like 225, 230. So it's a perfect example. There was 200K equity just sitting there. Abraham Gray got a great discount. We got a great assignment. We split it over a lot of people, but imagine doing it yourself. Imagine doing it with Carlos. So even more. So stop tailing, guys. What is it? As the name suggests, it's a strategy that focuses on exploiting sellers, high appreciating areas, right? Where the auctions are really close. Except this time, instead of requesting COVID forbearance, what you're doing is reinstating the arrears and putting it back on retail for maximum profits. A lot of you may be saying, well, I don't have $100,000. I don't have $50,000 to reinstate the arrears myself. What do you mean reinstating the arrears? Well, let me tell you a little about how it works and some of the things you're gonna need. So here's some of the things you're gonna need to make it work. You're gonna need foreclosure leads with auction dates pretty soon, right? We're looking at, my sweet spot is 2 to 3 weeks. Most people sub to, they're targeting list pendants, notice of sales, foreclosure. They're targeting them way too early, 3 months before, 1 month, 2 months before. The problem with that is that in that phase, the borrower's still trying, they're still in survival mode. They're still trying to figure out how they can save the house themselves. And you'll see that unless the guy's already made up their mind and the guy's, for lack of a better word, thinking ahead, smart, it's going to be hard. You want to catch them when they're most desperate. You want to catch them when they're most motivated, right? And I promise you, when the auction date is 2 to 3 weeks away and there's 500K of equity there, 200K, whatever, they're going to be pretty motivated. And you'll see that it's pretty easy to get these deals. It won't take much skill at all. So you need that range is good for me. Find the one that's good for you. Every market, every person will be different. You want to target historically high appreciating markets, right? So like I said, Cali's crazy. Maybe New York, Washington, Texas. You want to target areas, Colorado, where houses are more likely to appreciate over time. And the final one, reinstating the arrears. How would we do that normally? Well, not ourselves, right? So you have to have private money to reinstate the arrears. And so it's a 3-man team. You don't have to do it yourself. It's really a 3-man team. You need a closer, right? You have one here, Carlos. A lot of you are also closers here. You need a foreclosure specialist. So someone who's willing to actually call the banks, deal with the banks. And keep in mind, guys, these bank calls take an hour minimum. If any of you guys have dealt with banks before and the servicers, it takes an hour. It sucks. It's the worst. Sometimes you can't get through to them. Sometimes they have to transfer you X, Y, Z, and it takes a long time. And the third part is the private money lender to cover the arrears. So the whole premise behind stop telling essentially is catching them right before the auction and bam, stopping the whole auction by having a private money lender come in and reinstate the arrears for you with the contingency that there's equity in there. My rule of thumb is I want to see that there's 200K of equity in there as is, not ARV. I'm not projecting, right? I'm not, projecting really crazy numbers. Like you guys have probably witnessed with wholesale deals. The ARV is like, wow, this deal's freaking crazy, bro. Have you seen this? No, the guy marked up the ARV. We're not looking for ARV. We're not really trying to renovate anything. It's literally a flip of a foreclosure lead. You're flipping a foreclosure lead essentially. You want there to be 200K at least as is. Like what is it worth in its current condition with rehab or without? So you need a private money lender to do that. And so with most of you guys, you may be thinking, well, that's my only issue is private money lenders. But I will testify on behalf of myself that within a day of just pitching this idea, stop tailing, within a day of requesting private money, I was able to get about $1.25 million to cover anything I had to do with stop tailing. Why? Because think about the type of the return a lender will get with this. I didn't have one lender deny me, and the reason why is because what's 20%, which is a good return? What's 20% when there's 300K of equity? 20% of their 100K to cover arrears. That's 20K for the arrears. It's 20K for the lender. That's nothing. You still have 280K for you if there's 300K there, right? You still have 480 if there's 500K there. So me, I'm more of the generous type. I'd probably entice them more, say, hey, I'll give you 50K of the 300. I have no problem doing that. But you get my point. The point is that it's really easy to build lenders with this, even this method. And quite frankly, it's easy to sow seeds and build rapport with lenders. Something Carlos is really good with building lenders is really to build a rapport with just private money lending, pitching this to them. I had a couple of those lenders willing to fund some deals that, God knows why didn't go through because of zoning issues. And because why? Because you've already built rapport. You've already got them to commit verbally in their hearts saying, yeah, I'll lend to you if you give me a 20% return or whatever, half, 50% return. And so if you bring them another idea, stop telling or not, you're likely to get them to jump on board. And even though that's on the side, just want to throw that out there. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I know I glanced through it really quickly, but it's extremely simple. And there are some key things you want to do though to make sure that you're doing it right. Obviously, you want everything in place. You want it to be under contract. You want to make sure the equity is there. You want to make sure you have a private money lender, but you want to make sure that, guys, you get the reinstatement payoff from the servicer as quick as you can. So I think this is probably the most important thing, is you want to make sure that you're getting the reinstatement payoff and the regular payoff from the servicer as quick as you can. Why? Because some servicers will take 10 days just to get you the payoff. Like with the deal I closed, it took 10 days. We had to postpone it like 2 weeks and stuff. You want to make sure that if you're dealing with the seller in foreclosure, stop tail or not, just have the seller, unless you have to do it, get their payoff and reinstatement payoff. It's going to save you a lot of headache. You just always will need those two things. So just get it anyways. And I'll actually post in the chat now. I posted it earlier, but I'll post it again just so you guys know. I'll post the questions that you want to ask every foreclosure lead. Whenever I get asked to help somebody, I usually just have them fill this out before anything. I don't want to really hear the person's story of what they're going through. I sent it to Eunice. Sorry, Eunice. I don't really want to hear their story. You know, I don't really want to hear like what they're going through. And it's not because I'm being insensitive. It's just because I deal with that every day for my work. And I've already been, you know, scarred through all the stories I've heard. So, but with that form I just posted there, it's probably all you'll ever need in regards to foreclosure. And it's all you'll ever need to analyze a deal in foreclosure and assess if it's worth pursuing on a stop tail basis, if it's worth pursuing on a loan modification basis, state program basis, flip, whatever. And so use that, guys, because it's probably going to be the best thing you have, is that form. And that's pretty much it with stop tail. Carlos, I don't know where you want to head, but we can open up a QA for foreclosures in general or stop tail in general, whatever you think, man.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks first off so much for coming in and giving us your time. And you know, it wasn't going to take long, like we talked about it. It's pretty much simple, but what you don't know, you'll never know. And now that you guys know and understand it, it's a part of your game plan now, because this is what's going on in the economy. It's why you want to focus. Take advantage, because it's already coming. So what will happen is, if you're not that good at closing deals and you're trying to find distressed deals, with the economy going down, you now know you have to give your maximum allowable offer on a wholesale deal at 50 to 60% minus repairs. So it's going to be harder for you to do it, right? And then if you don't understand that a lot of foreclosures are about to happen and you just let them slide because you don't want to learn about it, you're just losing opportunities. And this is why we wanted to host it, because yeah, for us, we understand how to do this, and we know that we're going to get a lot of opportunities to make a lot of money doing it. But we know a lot of people just kind of brush this off for the reason that they think it's harder than it is. And really, it took 15, 20 minutes to break this down. And so we want you guys to learn this, to be able to do this, because you guys are going to have a lot of distress leads over the next 12, 18 months. Unfortunately, people are going to be in bad situations, and those are going to be some of your best deals. I like looking at pre-foreclosure deals. It's not like because I feel great for the person being in their spot. It's not that reason. But it's because of that reason that the deal could be a really good deal, for the fact that even though this house might have equity, when somebody's down and out and depressed, they don't even consider to sell the house for the equity of what it's worth. They don't even think about it. Even though a lot of people can, when they have it off the bat, they can sell their house. It's just when you're down and out, you feel a little depressed, you know, and I'm sure everybody's been in some dark areas before, and you kind of feel like you have like no mobility, no emotion really anymore. You don't want to do anything. That's where a lot of these people are. You know, they're already given up, and I'm sure you've gone on the phone with some of them, and you hear how sometimes they don't care so much that they're willing to just lose the deal to not even work with you. You'll come across those type of people where they're just already so done, they accepted it, that they don't even care. Even if you can make a profit and pay them, they're like, I don't care. And so you're going to run into those as well. But since it's coming up, we wanted you guys to learn this. And a 3-person team, you guys just need a pre-foreclosure specialist, right? So Giancarlo's here. Giancarlo, if you can put your name, your phone number, social media information on the side, if you have a YouTube channel, And then if you don't consider yourself a closer just yet, or while you're learning in here how to become a closer, I'm the go-to. You guys already know that. You guys can call me. I'll be your closer. I can also bring a lender if you can't bring a lender to the table. I can bring a lender. Bring us a lead. Bring us a lead. Let's work it. We're gonna do the same thing right when you say, "Hey, I have this opportunity." We're gonna send you that questionnaire. So those little questions that we reposted that Giancarlo just put up, and then I just reposted them. Write those down, because those are the questions that we're going to want you to have when you bring us the lead. So then we understand our job is just to analyze the information given. And so the faster you bring that to us, the easier it is for us to do the job, because foreclosure deals are not like one and done overnight type of thing. They take a little bit of time. So with that being said, thank you, Giancarlo. And I'm going to open up the floor for questions. And so if you guys have questions, raise your hands like Daniel and Jake have. And then I'm going to put myself on mute, and Giancarlo, you can just start naming them off in order.
Cool. I saw Daniel's hand up for a while. I'll just call on Daniel.
How's it going?
What's going on, Daniel? What's up?
So when you mentioned as is value, how are you determining what is as is value?
Kind of like, I guess kind of like if you were to, assess like a max allowable offer in a sense, you have to take into account the rehab. You have to take into account to how much would it cost like to fix that property. At the end of the day, if you're going to pursue the deal, you have to be the most honest with yourself, because last thing you want to do is get less profit than you anticipated, right? So I'd say take into account the renovations, take it off of what would be ARV, maybe remove realtor fees if you want to use a realtor, maybe be a little conservative. The market's going down. I think pace it around this time. If you're going to be doing things like this, be a little more conservative. So I would just say be conservative and kind of base the calculation the way you would a wholesale deal in a sense.
Okay, I got you. So essentially, your as is value is your max allowable offer, taking all that into consideration.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
I'd say be extremely conservative.
And one other question here. What's the best way to bring the deals to you guys? Just give you a call, or do you got a submission form or anything like that?
You can, me and Carlos are pretty, we're both pretty hyperactive. I say messenger, text, call, messenger or text probably for me. I don't know
Gotcha.
about Carlos, but yeah.
Gotcha. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man, for coming. I guess Terrence, what's up, man?
Hey, yes, I was one of the questions you said to ask is working. I'm not sure what you mean by working.
Yeah, is the seller working? So it's to know if they have if they know if are they making income, even if they're not working. Here's the tricky part: is they may say, no, I'm not working, but I get Social Security, pension, my ex-husband, whatever, alimony, or my my spouse who passed away's Social Security also, or pension. You want to know all the government-based income they're getting, because even if they're not working a 9 to 5, they may be getting like a ton of Social Security and government payments. So, but are they making income? And the reason for that question is for a loan modification. If they're not working, you can't do a modification. Zero. So if you send that, or someone sends that to you and it's no, you can't do a modification. Just wipe out that option.
Okay, and where would be the best place to start looking for pre-foreclosure and foreclosure leads?
Honestly, man, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really pull leads. I've never pulled a lead, trace the lead myself. I normally always had people just pass me leads, sub 2 members. But from what I've observed is they usually get it by door knocking. I see there's a lot of people door knocking. Door knocking, I guess they pull it from the county or title companies. That's a very popular way, actually. Just regular systems and softwares like batch leads and everything Pace promotes would work fine also. So I would say between those avenues, the title companies and counties are probably legit leads too. I would say those are probably your best source.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. going on, Daniel?
Hey,
Yeah, hi, how are you? So you say to make sure that it's under contract, that it has at least $200,000 in equity. Is that a rule of thumb, like 200,000? It could be less, or it has to be above 200,000. Then you said
That's just
also make
my,
sure that, oh, that's just your, okay. Will it work
Yeah.
if it has only 100?
it could.
Because on the
It
deal.
could.
Okay,
It may be risky for the lender. It depends on the arrears too. Like how much is the lender covering for you, you know? If they're only covering $10,000 for you arrears and there's like 100K as is, then it may be a trigger. Yeah,
so you
maybe
need
a
the
trigger pull.
equity. Yeah, you need the equity to be able to cover for the arrears. I got that part now. Okay.
Yeah, the equity is the lender safeguard. So they're gonna
Yeah.
make asking like, oh, what's my security? Well, there's 100K equity here, man, and you only have to cover $10,000.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'll give you a 100% return. Like we profit 100,000, I'll give you 10,000. You'll make
Yeah.
100% return. So
So I was taking notes and I forgot one of the things. So you said make sure that it's under contract, it has equity, and then request a payoff statements to reinstate on the regular one. Is there anything else that I'm missing there on the make sure things?
no, that's about right. You know,
Okay.
that's about right. People ask, do I need third-party authorization a lot? Do I need to fill out the form? The answer is no, you don't have to. See, a lot of people waste their time with third-party authorization forms. And what I found is that you're dealing with the bank maybe 1 or 2 times, 3 times if it's like complicating. You can just call in. I'm not gonna advise this, but you can call in with the seller and just, you have all the authorization you need. You can do a verbal authorization, just call with the seller, or you can do what I like to do, which wouldn't advise, but you know, if you get good, you can call in as the seller. So I call in a lot of times as the seller. The reason I do that is because it's just so much easier. Sometimes
Okay.
you call with the seller and then they start messing it up for you. They're like, yeah, they want to take over the call. They're like, yeah, Mr. Servicer, you know, I'm
Mhm.
calling today because they'll mess up the whole call for you sometimes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you do call the seller, I'll tell them, look, just don't say anything. Just verify the information and let me take over. And then
Now,
if I'm calling with the seller, I'll pretend to be sometimes the attorney because the agent will take you more seriously that way.
gotcha. And then my second question is regarding if there is not enough equity and the lead qualifies for a short sale, can we still go your route, or will you find us a short sale specialist?
Yeah. Short sales are cool. I don't like them particular, but if you need a short sale, I know you can go to several people.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go with Jake because I think that you're not able to see his hand up and his hand's been up. So Jake
Okay.
is the next.
What's up, Jake?
What's up, Giancarlo? I appreciate you doing this, man. So, yeah, I had this lead I door knocked like 2 weeks ago, and I checked on them. Well, they were basically going through this like rescue like loan modification program in South Carolina, and yeah, basically I checked in on them the other day to see how it was going, and then they said they were having some issues with like the lawyer kind of getting the paperwork over. But I talked to her earlier today, and she was kind of in like panic mode, but I think she's gonna end up getting the loan modification program to go through. But yeah, I was just wanting to know, like, I guess maybe for next time, like, I don't know, just like the best route to go to, and like, I mean, I'm gonna still follow up with them and just see like how like your method would work best in that situation. Just because I plan on doing a lot more door knocking in the future, and just get in front of these sellers and just kind of the best route to take. But yeah, not too much of a question, but just kind of a scenario where I ran into and just kind of the best route to take.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of like questions there I would have to ask, you know, like if there was an auction date and like if it was under contract. And
Yeah. So the auction dates is Monday. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
yeah, that's why she's panicking. So I mean, with an auction date that close, the half program is not going to protect her. Just so you know, guys, he's talking about the HAF program and the California relief we mentioned earlier. That's the HAF program. It's HAF. It stands for Homeowners Assistance Funding Program. I didn't touch on it because it wasn't the topic of today. There's just so much information with foreclosures, but it's one trick you can do to remove the arrears off of any lead up to 40K, some states 80K. It's a government-based program. But I mean, the HAF program won't protect you at this point, man. Her best option, I mean, if it's Monday and it's the weekend, servicers are closing in like an hour or two. I would say her best option is probably like, bankruptcy, honestly, man.
So I mean, the program's called like SC Homeowners Rescue Program. So you're saying it's too late for that?
Yeah, if you apply for that, the only way that'll stop it is if the state sends over what's called an I record. So if the state sends over what's called an I record, it'll postpone the foreclosure for up to 45 days. But the issue is that it takes about, the seller has to get approved. They're gonna need documentation and how they have to complete it. It's gonna be a back and forth, like, hey, you forgot your pay stubs. Hey, you forgot your bank statements. Hey, you forgot. There's gonna be such a back and forth that it's likely she'll submit it perfectly before Monday. I wouldn't even risk that. Even if it was a modification, no, you have to complete the modification perfectly for most servicers for them to even put a hold on foreclosure for you. So her best option, honestly, is probably bankruptcy, which is an option I hate, but it's probably her only option to stop it.
Well, I probably should reach out to this lady and like let her know like she's probably like the auction's like at 11 a.m. on Monday. So I mean, when would be like the absolute latest she could file bankruptcy? Because I told her, I was like, make sure you're up at the courthouse like first thing in the morning to make sure it stops.
Yeah, I mean, you can file it today, tomorrow, maybe. You want to be safe, today, tomorrow. Sooner the better.
Okay. Gotcha. Well,
Yeah, it's an issue in the auctions on a Monday, and then you have the weekend,
yeah, that's pretty inconvenient, but
Yeah.
well, I can reach back out to her and just see, just kind of let her know. I mean, that program might not go through.
No, unless I'm missing something. I'm sure there's more information there. Unless she already got approved for it and it's currently putting it on hold, but it sounds like the auction date is still in place, right?
Yeah, because I checked the county website and it's still listed on there. But she said it's been like a lot of back and forth between like the lender and the attorneys and judges and everybody involved. So, but I mean, I can let her know. I mean, we can help her with the bankruptcy option.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you,
just,
could she apply for the, sorry to interrupt, could she
Okay.
apply for the program while she's in bankruptcy?
Yeah, the bankruptcy will postpone the auction for like 30 to 45 days. It's a stall tactic. So what you would want to do is do bankruptcy to stall it and then apply for the half and then hope the I record comes in time to stall it again. And then hope she gets approved and it'll cover the arrears. So this is now like working into the nuances of loss mitigation where you have to get your ninja belt for this type of stuff. But basically, yeah, bankruptcy just to stall it. And you want to apply for the state program. I would say also apply for the loan modification because the loan modification stalls it better. The whole idea is just to stall it while focusing on the mission on hand. Are you trying to remove the arrears? Are you trying to wholesale it? Are you trying to wrap it with the arrears? There's so many factors. I would say fill out that form, send it over to me. I'll look at it and update me if you get anything from there with that lead.
Okay, I will. I appreciate it, Giancarlo.
No, absolutely, man. Tricky one.
Yeah, they're definitely they'll keep their head in the sand until the very last minute.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. I told you, man. They really do. Really do. If I don't call your hand in order, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna go from top to bottom. I see Duran Jackson.
Thank you. Giancarlo. Extremely new and green to this. I've wholesale, but not really following the concept to a T just of yet. So how would I personally make money in this type of situation with stop telling? Like where would I be able to make money?
It depends. I mean, like the way I pitched it to lenders may be different the way you do. The way I pitch it is if there's 300K that we're going to be profiting, the lender's getting 20%. And I'm going to split it in half with the person who actually got it under contract or who between the closer and lead. Like, let's say in this case, Carlos closes it and it depends who got the lead, right? Whoever sourced the lead may want a percentage. So then in that case, it would be split in like 3. But let's say Carlos got the lead himself. He has it under contract. I work it for him. And then the lender comes in. I would split half the profit with him and the lender gets their 20%. So if there's 300K equity and the arrears are 100,000, the lender's gonna get 20,000. And then me and Carlos would split 280, so we get 140K each. That's the way I worked it out with the lenders ahead of time so that they know what they're getting. But if somebody brought the lead, somebody else closed it, I come in and the lender, then maybe that 280 will be split among 3 people. So we're
Yeah,
talking huge
and I
profits
can
for
kind of
sure.
elaborate on that too. So like because I work a lot, all my deals I've ever done have been JV. And when I realized somebody's wanting to work with us and bring multiple deals, even if they didn't close the deal, I'll pay them an assignment fee because I can truly see that this is not going to be a one and done type of thing, right? But then when I see people who never really come around, never talk to us, and then they bring us a lead and they don't do nothing, like it's just a lead, then I just pay them like an entry fee, just like a referral fee, a couple $1,000, nothing too crazy, right? But in scenarios where I know most people who are in the powerhouse and they're working and they're coming here, I know that they're going to be bringing most opportunities. I'm not a stingy guy. I put myself in an opportunity to have a scarcity mindset. So I work with a lot of people. My name's always out there now. So I have all these opportunities. So if I have too much on my plate to consume, do I drop the ball or do I turn to Giancarlo or to someone like you and say, hey, I'll give you 50% or a third of this deal if you can take over this part because I can't do this. But and I would give it to the person I know that can handle it, like Giancarlo can handle his part, I can handle my part. Somebody brings the lead into it, I can close that. That's totally fine. I enjoy that. That's like where I can strive, like Giancarlo's specialties and foreclosure. So to answer the question, really, it's depending on how much you input, right? Some people really want to get. Some people bring me a cold lead and they're literally expecting 10 to 15 grand. And I say, where do you expect that? Not to be rude, but where does somebody expect to make 10, 15 grand for passing on the cold lead? Right. And I don't mind giving them like a few $1,000, but as they come in and warm the lead up, that's what, if you bring me a hot lead or a warm lead, then you're going to get paid an assignment fee because you worked that. If you bring me something cold, we can work it out. We could talk about it, but no matter what, everybody gets paid. We're not going to let people hang. Everybody gets paid in the deal. And the people who we notice that are trying to do multiple deals, we just do it fairly because we know you're probably going to have a lot of deals because you're like a hungry person out there bringing in multiple deals to the table. So we don't mind that. We don't mind taking a piece of the pie for the day and not having anything to eat. You get me?
Gotcha.
Like that.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see who's next. I see Duran. I thought maybe we covered Duran already, right? Duran Jackson.
Yeah, you just got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yennefer, Anna, what's going on?
Hi, good evening. Thank you. So I was door knocking and I came upon this property, which is going to auction next week, right? And I learned that it was like owned by a trust and it has tenants in the property. So how do you work up around that scenario?
Yeah, that one's gonna be a little more trickier. I'd say deal with the servicer the same way. So just call it. So I would say everything's the same except when it comes down to it at title, it's probably gonna be different for the seller as opposed to you. You're probably gonna have to deal with different layers since you're working with the trust and such. I'm not the best with trusts, but I'd say in terms of dealing with servicers, in terms of what we kind of went over, everything will be the same. You still call into the servicer, you can still gather the information, you can still have somebody come and reinstate it. I would just say get a TC involved for something like that where there's more layers. Make sure it's done right. Should be okay. But yeah, trust makes it trickier for sure.
Yes, I mean, and who would be like a TC here in Powerhouse? Like, who would I be able to go to if I wanted to pursue this?
There
We
any?
actually have two TCs in training right now that they're going to be for the powerhouse. We don't have anybody now, but we could recommend sub 2 TCs that we work with for our deals.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'll contact you guys afterwards.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. All right. What's going on, Cassandra, A team?
What up? How you guys doing this morning?
Doing good. Ain't that
Good.
bad.
I like it. I like it. Hey, so if our lead isn't working or isn't working consistently, is there anything we can do for them?
Yeah, it depends on the state. So the beautiful thing about that form is that I don't know if it covers the state. Does it cover the state? No, because that'll come with the mortgage statement. So normally with the foreclosure lead, you also want to, you want to get the reinstatement payoff, the mortgage statement. Also, it's one thing I forgot. You want to always get a mortgage statement because the mortgage statement is going to have the address, going to have the loan number, it's going to have the past due amount, right? It's going to have the guy's name, so you'll know actually who's on the note and who's not on the note. I would say if they're not working, the only other option you can do is that state program.
Okay.
So if they're not working, the first thing I say is, okay, they're not working. What state is it in? It's in Texas? Okay, let's try the state program. Boom, it's gonna take 3 months. It's in Illinois? No, they're on a wait list. It's
Yeah.
in, Florida? No, Florida's closed. Hawaii's closed. So yeah, you can have the state program cover the arrears. Those are the only two options that cover arrears: loan modification and the state program.
Okay. Yeah, I have a guy in New York and it's hard to get him to participate. He's kind of hopeless. Like he keeps telling me he's going to take a long walk in the woods with his dogs. So it's really kind of sad. Like he's without hope, but he does have an attorney that keeps stalling his auction date. But he's a custom home builder, so he's not working consistently. Not really sure how we can help him out there. He's got a heavy amount of arrears. I mean, it's like a $700,000 house.
What are the is there any equity in there?
Yeah, so I think he owes an arrears like 104 and his payoff is somewhere around like 300. So there's definitely equity, but he's thinking that it needs like another 100 as well in rehab.
The payoff of 300 something, is that including the arrears in there?
That I don't know. Like like I said, it's very hard to get him to participate in this process because he doesn't care. He's repeatedly told me, I don't give a shit. Like, I just don't care. I'm like, well,
yeah.
But like, do you want me to help you or do you not? He's like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, if you can get them on board and if there's like equity, and it sounds like there might be equity in there. It's in New York, a state that probably, state that's crazy high price values. It might be a deal. It might be a stop tail deal. The state program won't work there. It's on a wait list in New York. And also he's not working. So stop tail is probably your best option unless you can, or you can just go traditional route. You can try to wrap that thing, see if anybody would want that, or try to sub to it or wholesale it. But with the arrears that high, it definitely makes it hard because the entry fee is higher.
Right. And when when you're saying that, just to clarify, are you talking about filing bankruptcy or?
Just having like somebody, assuming the equity is there and it's really worth it, having a lender come in and just reinstate the arrears.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
taking
And then
over
take it sub
completely.
to.
Sub to or purchase price,
Okay.
depends on the deal, what they want,
Okay.
and just sell it. It could be risky. This could be risky, but you have to see the equity in there because it sounds like there's rehab needed, right? Yeah, you need all the balances too. Somebody in foreclosure, they can have several balances from 5 or 10 years ago from a modification they did 5 years ago, and it can pop up last minute and be like 30K, 40K, 20K. So getting all the balances is really essential to making sure it's a good stop tail deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What's going on, Brandon? See Brandon.
Hey, once again, thank you. Appreciate you for doing this. So one of my questions was, so that woman that we helped postpone the foreclosure, the response she had got back from the servicer was they had to send it over to their, like they approved it on their end, but then they said they had to send it over to their attorney or the foreclosure attorney is what they said. Is that how it works? Like they have to, the servicer has to get approval from someone else or, I mean, I'm a little confused on why
How are you postponing it? With what kind of option?
Oh, she provided the like the closing documents because her daughter's closing on her house. So she provided all that stuff, the the
Okay,
banking
purchase and sales
documents,
agreement.
the
That's right.
closing. Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys stopped it with the contract, and it was like last minute, right?
Yeah,
minute.
she's scheduled to get foreclosed on Tuesday, and she started doing all this stuff. She started on Thursday, like we all know. They put their head in the sand, or they were talking on their group about snow in Alaska. But yeah, they put their head in the sand, and then she hit me up and was like, "Hey, what can I?" Because at first they told her it was too late. So yeah,
Yeah, they always say that. That's a good point there, Brandon, is don't let anything that agents tell you defeat you, discourage you. Like if they tell you one thing, if they can't postpone it for you, hey, can I get a supervisor? Okay. Supervisor, you won't help me? Can I get another agent? Always keep getting transferred over. It sounds like they may postpone it for you actually, man.
okay,
A lot of times they use that jargon to say that it's not guaranteed.
okay,
There may be a possibility that it can't get done for whatever reason, but if they told you, hey, we may be able to postpone it, we just have to run it by the attorney, usually they can do it. The servicer is stronger than the attorney in that regard. It kind of
okay,
sounds weird, but everything is done with the servicer. I don't ever speak to the
okay.
attorneys. The servicer says, oh, you have to speak to the attorney. I'm like, no, I'm not calling for that. I'm not calling for that. I'm not calling to, because when somebody's actually in active foreclosure, the servicer won't tell you anything about the account, the payoff, arrears, and probably some of you guys probably experienced that. They're like, oh, you have to speak to the attorney on file. No, I'm not calling to speak to the attorney or request any info. I'm just requesting code forbearance or, so I'm just requesting to postpone it. I have a cash buyer for 30 days. So don't let their words kind of take any of you guys down, but it sounds like they may postpone it, man.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool, man. It looks
Thank you,
like
thank
no other questions. Does anybody have a final question, or is that?
Yeah,
I'll wrap it up?
I have one. So since, what would be the earnest money that you usually give to one of these contracts? Because it seems like you don't know until the end if it's really gonna close. So do you risk a lot of money? It's 0, 500 or something?
Yeah, like a regular deal, these people are in foreclosure. So, I mean, you have them on board with all that equity, you have them on board with the EMD, whatever you want. Whatever you
So
need.
it could
Yeah.
be zero, it could be 0, it could be 500. It depends on like the negotiation that you go through. Okay.
Well, typically you just need some type of money, $10 in there to validate the deal. So yeah, if you throw $10 in there, you can, it validates the deal.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, it just depends on if the seller, well, the seller won't really care, but if you're working with an agent, they're probably going to be like, what the hell? I want like 1%, or it's up to you to just stand firm. Like my agent wanted me to pay 3% of 350 grand. I said, no, I was like, I have like a whole bunch of deals in escrow. It's just not going to make sense. I'm going to buy the house from you. Like, you've already tried selling it. You couldn't find somebody to buy it on foreclosure. I can buy it. I'm only going to put $100 in there. That's all I have available. And then he was like, all right, and did it, but that's because I spoke up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my concern is, like you said, that you don't know until the end if there is any judgments, any liens, any other like modifications that they did in the past, and they're gonna come at the end. So if those come at the end, and then you seem like there is no equity, how can you back out of the contract and recover your deposit?
You'll see that up front. You're going to look at the deal like a regular deal, so you'll know if there's equity or not. When you're on the phone, you're going to hear what he owes, and you're going to be comping the property, and you're going to know off the bat how much he owes, what he's for his mortgage, what's his arrears, and what's the spread to the ARV. And right off the rip, if there's no spread, you can't stop till it. You might be able to turn it to a creative finance deal, though. So remember, this is called stop tailing. We're going to try to just throw it on retail, not do anything with it, just throw it on retail for the profit, right? It's stop tailing. If that doesn't work, we can still turn it to a creative finance deal. But we're showing you one strategy in the foreclosures. Stop tailing, where you stop it, you get a lender to get committed to paying those arrears. We throw it onto the market. And then obviously we're going to know what we can throw it on the market for, right, before we do it. So I'm not going to go call a lender if I run the numbers and there's no money in there, right? So that wouldn't work. I would have to then turn it to a creative finance deal. This would be, let's say there's a good amount of equity in the deal when you call the person, and let's say he's like, hey, how much do you owe left? I owe 110,000. Okay, and how much do you owe in arrears? Like 35 grand. Wow. And as you're talking to him, you run the comps and you see it's worth $275,000, $135,000 spread right there. Right there, that's like, okay, we can do this, right? You can get a lender in there for 35, give him 10 or 15 grand in there, throw it on the market, pay the 6% 6% commission to the realtors, and there's probably 40, 50, 60 grand in there left. Why wouldn't we want to do that, right? That's stop tailing. Otherwise, if it's like you're at market price, like the home I bought in Florida was a market price property, and then there was arrears and an assignment fee or a commission. So I paid 20 grand over the market to have that property in Florida. But I used a lender in there that gave me a longer term in it. No, he actually gave me 6 months. I just have another lender that's going to refinance them out. So I have a private money lender that can do refinances. So it just kind of costs more, you know. But I was able to make it work that way for myself. This is stop tailing. It's just look for the big equity. We have a lender in there to pay the arrears, and we throw it on the market. Everything will be documented as well, protecting the lender.
Well said. Okay, I see some new hands. I see Keith.
Yeah, how you guys doing today? Wanted to ask a question because I'm actually door knocking as we speak. I pulled over just to listen to this Zoom, and I'm in Florida, so I've done a few deals wholesale. I'm also a licensed realtor. I've been doing it a while, but I wanted to ask you now, the COVID forbearance, you say that is not available in Florida?
COVID forbearance is, yeah. It can go away any day now, but it's available for all states. It's still
Okay.
available.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That was my main question. Yeah, as soon as I get some deals, I'll be calling you guys.
Awesome, man. It's make some money. It's the easiest way. Stop tailing. Promise.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. And then Brandon, did you have another question, or you just didn't take your hand down?
If y'all don't mind, I do have another question.
No, go for it. It's Giancarlo.
All right.
Absolutely.
So you had mentioned the bankruptcy as an option, right? Like last minute, you don't prefer that option, but you had also told me like they could sometimes pull it back. And I was just wondering, how does that work? So you apply for it and then that can postpone the foreclosure, but then they can like cancel the bankruptcy. Is that something that they can do?
Yeah. You want to do, by the way, it's like a chapter 13, not a chapter 7. Chapter 13 is what you
Okay.
want to do. Because that one at least allows the person filing it to pay it back over time. Chapter 7 is like, boom, they walk away from everything. They're done. So you want to make sure it's 13. Don't file the wrong one. But yeah, you'll just file it. And a lot of times what will happen is that just by filing it, it'll kind of postpone it, and you don't have to commit through the whole process of the bankruptcy. You don't actually have to commit through the whole process A to Z. Just you can do A, B, C, just start it, get a file number. And that should be enough for a lot of lenders. There is a new option too. I'm exploring a TRO, which is like a restraining order, but it's not something I'm familiar with, but I know that it works also, and it does the same thing. So still learning that one though. If anybody learns it,
Okay, cool.
definitely share. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's up, Damon?
Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you taking the time this Saturday to go through this. Real quick, somebody asked earlier, but my reception was shit, so I missed a bit of it. Can you repeat real quick how somebody gets paid when you're going through this type of transaction?
So yeah, I mean, Carlos touched on it because, and I think it was right that he did, because it kind of depends, right? If you source the lead yourself, there's only just you and let's say foreclosure guy, let's say me and a lender, normally the lender just gets 20% of their return. You guys see how like the lenders, like it's such a good deal, even for the lender, but it's better deal for the closer and the foreclosure guy. Normally it's different, it's how you structure it, but normally I would just split it in half with the closer. But if somebody brings you a lead, Carlos was saying, usually he'll pay a referral fee in a sense for that lead. If it's somebody you've been JVing with though for some time, then that's a different ball game. So you've been JVing with them for some time, and maybe they're like somebody you're always doing deal with. Maybe now, you can split it in 2 or in 3 with them. So
Yeah, like depends like your involvement with the person, right? Like if you're coming by because you know that we can help you out, and we really never talk, we really never do deals. It's not like I'm gonna probably in my head I already know I'm probably not gonna really see you. So I'm gonna be what's fair is what's fair. You're bringing me a lead. You don't know how to do the job correctly. So the thing is we can walk you through it, but we pay you a fee on it. We wouldn't pay you a whole assignment. Now, if you brought it warm, you did the majority of the work. That right there, you earned a whole assignment fee or equity split with us because you put in majority of the work and we just topped it off with what we knew, right? Or in a scenario where maybe you're spending a lot of time with us and you're learning and you're working deals, and we know that you're getting value, and we know that you're probably going to want to work a lot of deals with us. That involvement we'll be able to see that, and we'll go ahead and do like a fair split with you because we know this isn't going to be one and done. And there's going to be a point where we've already walked you through so many steps where you're good to go on your own. That's the part of, we're not charging any of this stuff that people always charge on weekends for, or we're not even charging to show people how to do anything what we do. And all the time we get students from Sub 2 and TTP and all these other courses that come and actually stick with us on our nightly dials. We started showing people how to close deals. I've shown people how to buy deals right here. Sub 2 students, TTP students, I've showed them how to get their first wholesale and lock up their first creative finance deal. I've taken students that have no mentorships, like Josh Keating. He's like one of the first guys that came into the powerhouse when I opened it up. And on our first phone call, we closed a deal together. And then since then, he now owns like 8 doors, and he's never learned creative financing or never took TTP. Just while I was learning, I just gave out what I learned on the way up, trying to build this powerhouse thing. And this is what it's become, now we have all these opportunities. I have Giancarlo on my side as a foreclosure specialist. I don't have a scarcity mindset. I partnered up with the Airbnb specialist, an underwriter, a wrap specialist, a guy in oil, like a multifamily team. I'm now a creative finance coach for TTP every Friday. Like it was an awesome roller coaster ride, but really it came from just JVing with people, squatting up, and a lot of people's involvement. And I've done a lot of fair splits for people that put minimal work in, but put a lot of involvement in working with us. And then now they're locking up deals on their own, buying their own deals. It's cool. And then I've had people where they bring me a lead, and I've had like 2 or 3 leads have been like great deals. And they'd ask them, what are you going to pay me? I said, what do you think's fair? And they said, I don't know, 2-3 grand because it's a lead. And I paid that, and the deals end up becoming home runs. I could have paid more if I knew they were going to be home runs. But at the same time, it's what's fair, because even Pace or Brent will talk about giving somebody $500 or $1,000 for a cold lead. I try to be a little bit more fair because I want to bring more value and have more opportunities.
For sure. I appreciate that. Last question. Do you guys do nationwide?
Yeah, I close anywhere. We'll do this anywhere.
Okay. And is Powerhouse kind of like your office hours or something? This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
Yeah, so I just created my own little community, my own mentorship. When I started, I came from TTP. I joined January, like mid-January. Then I joined Sub 2 the last day of January. And then once I already felt that community and saw the leverage in February, I was like, I can build my own mentorship one day, watch. And I created the Powerhouse. And then through time, I started just putting together value, started to be consistent, doing role plays, doing live seller calls. And then through time, we started bringing a lot of value. And now we're structuring ourselves to be a real mastermind in mentorship. And we have several testimonies of people closing deals here. So the Powerhouse is a mentorship that I created that I believed in, and that's what it's turning to. So it's kind of something that we just put together like 8 months ago. And I put the links in on the side. I could repost them, but we have a Telegram link. There's like 300-400 people on there. It's just text messaging questions and answers to all types of deals. We have a Facebook group where we have all our files in there. I have a YouTube link you guys can subscribe to that we post all the recordings. This will be on there. Basically have a lot of stuff. We have a podcast, a couple other things coming out, files. We're pulling out templates, seller scripts. I have my own acquisition structure that's different from TTP and Sub 2. It's actually proven to help people close deals faster than most people that are jumping in PTP and sub two. So that's where we come up. The reason why people have heard of the powerhouse is because the acquisition structure I created. I come from a background of heavy sales and negotiation. I used to work for Cadillac as a salesman, Chevrolet, GMC, Ford. I was a director of sales for AT&T, DirecTV, Google, go state to state, show their offices how to improve on sales. So I took a lot of my sales training that I've learned and working for Fortune 500 companies and kind of implemented that structure and attached TTP and what I've learned in sub two and what I've learned through mentors. And I actually formatted a really good structure in order that I'm creating a roadmap to show you what questions to ask in order for you to get the deal done. And even I was on TTP yesterday going over this exact structure that I teach the powerhouse. And first, everybody was surprised in TTP, like how much information they were learning. And a lot of powerhouse students are like, hey, can you send me the recording? I said, there's no reason to. You guys get it 4 days a week, 5 days a week. There's literally nothing different. That's when I realized how powerful we were already off the bat. And then right after I said I'm creating this structure, Brent Daniels texts me like, yo, when you're done creating that roadmap and that structure, email it over to me. Because they know, right when I broke it down, they found out right there. I just realized in everybody's eyes when they saw how good and I teach it to you guys 4 or 5 days a week. It's the same stuff if you guys are in here. You guys are in here 4 or 5 days a week. It's the same exact stuff that I teach you. It's the structure I created. But when I showed it to TTP, they were blown away, dude. And that's because I've learned how to set expectations, try to weave out the person right in the beginning, and then go through a series of questions that I put together and show you how to close. And most people don't know how to close. And what I teach is most people get into wholesaling, most people get into sub two and creative financing, and they study all they can about wholesaling and sub two. I'll hear people, I've been doing this for a year, studying wholesaling for a year. Dude, it only takes you 2 or 3 weeks to learn how to do it. What you should have been doing is spending 2 or 3 weeks on improving on your acquisitions, learning how to go with the structure. What's your end goal right here in that structure of your acquisitions? And if you have none, that's where you fall short. That's why you can never use all this studying that you've been doing, all these strategies that you learned. You can never use them or perform on them because you don't even know how to close and feed yourself. I teach that shit, and that's why a lot of sub two students now dropped out of they come out from Nightly Down and come into here because it's a little bit different. I'm a sub two fan, hardcore. I'm a hardcore believer of sub two. But I also understand that I'm a great closer and negotiator. And I understand that when you go into nightly dials, most people are just going to criticize you like how they're supposed to give you feedback. I'm not just giving you feedback. I'm giving you a fucking structure. No, that's not how we do our structure here. Erase what you've learned because it's not working and do exactly as I tell you. That's a different thing. Sub two is giving you feedback on your guys' nightly dials. TTP is giving you feedback on how you did. I would have done this differently. Good job. I would have done that. That's not what I do that after you're using my structure. And I will tell you once I hear, hey, you missed like 3 or 4 questions. Where were you learning that from? We didn't teach that to you. Oh, okay. So you weren't studying. Okay, well then get back to studying. You want to close? Like we have a lot of people. I had a student that been wholesaling for a whole year and came in and like on his 3rd day closed the deal. I have like 4 or 5 stories like that. There's another person that came in and probably the fastest person in here. Josh was the fastest person to close a deal in here on the first phone call, just like how I closed my first deal on the first phone call. But then I've had a couple other people close their first deals in the 3 to 5 days of coming in here, already coming from different mentorships that they paid for that have big names. But there was somebody that recently came in last week that within the first 5 days, he learned how to close a creative finance deal, structured it so well and is buying it. He's probably the fastest one of my students to do something like that. And he got a deal that was appraised at 210 grand. He bought it at 150, no interest on it, just $3,000 down, $500 principal payments with $1,300 market rent. He got an $800 cash flow. He got $60,000 equity spread on the front and only $3,000 plus closing costs, no renovation. I learned to teach him that in 5 fucking days because I have a different structure. I show people how to close, how to do the right thing, and then you can use your strategy. I'm not teaching you, I can teach you sub two and all the strategies how to perform, but I'd prefer you to go to sub two. That's the real deal. They have a way better system. They're way more experienced. They have modules. I'm getting there, but it's going to take me time to get to that experience. I can show you how to close like a motherfucker though. Right? If you want to learn how to wholesale, that's super simple. But go to TTP as well. Learn all the strategies. They're structured for that. I'm structured right now how to build the best acquisitions So when people come here, they can use all the other stuff they learn and actually start performing on it because I'm teaching them how to fish for themselves. And I haven't charged, you know what I'm saying? So now that I've known, I blow the tops off in sub 2 communities and in TTP communities when I start talking and start showing them my structure. I already know that we're going to start charging next year. So everybody who's here now is grandfathered in. There's no fee, but we already know what we're going to charge next year. It's going to be in between TTP and a little bit under sub 2 because we do a little bit more than TTP and we don't do everything that sub 2 does, but we bring it. We've proven it. We've had probably like 15 testimonies already so far. And so we're getting ready to rock. And you guys want to come in here now and have some fun and enjoy the time because it's free and you guys will all be grandfathered in. But next year, you know, we're going to start charging for the same thing we do. It's time. It's how we monetize, right? I'm not here just to make money on one thing I do. I'm trying to monetize. I didn't change anything I'm doing either. My structure ain't changing. The way that I do things every day ain't changing. But I believed in myself 8 months ago. Somebody told me like a month ago, I could finally see the powerhouse being a mentor, an actual mastermind and mentorship. I said, yeah, because you had to see to believe. I believed the motherfucker back then when I first opened it, when I was 1 month into real estate. I've been in real estate 8 months. I've been able to build my own empire. Not $1 out of my pocket I ever spent. I ran out of money. I never had, like how Giancarlo says, I didn't spend $1 on leads. I don't have a VA, don't have a CRM system, don't even have comping tools. I don't have anything, nothing, no automated systems. I have to be my own TC, my own closer, raise my own private capital. I have to do all of that. Now, when I ran out of money, I just knew I was a closer, so I posted it everywhere. I'm closing deals. I'm doing mad deals. I even made a mistake. Norma just put a comment in here, but I remember one of my first deals I tried to do with Norma. I thought we were going to do a home run. I didn't do my due diligence right. I almost lost her fucking gator money. Almost got sued in the process. I got sick to my stomach. You know, like I went out there and tried a lot of shit and learned through like trial and error. But from where I got to, I mean, now I have 11 homes. I've only been doing this for 8 months. Now I have 11 homes. I have like over $3 million in assets, wholesaled over 8 properties, built this mastermind. I've helped over 10 people close their first deal. I've helped 3 people buy their first properties, with one of those people having 8 properties now, right? And not $1 have I spent because I didn't have none. And I understand when I do have some, how to throw it back. So if you guys have a full system in place, VA, CRM, calling campaign, SMS campaign, TCs, leads. If you guys have all of that and you guys haven't caught up to me, you'll never catch me when I start to automate my business. You'll never see me. There'd be no way. You couldn't catch me now when I didn't do it with no money out of my pocket. I should even build a mentorship next year that I should charge 10 grand for to show you how to build an empire with no money out of your pocket. I mean, how insane does that sound? Because I was able to do it with no money out of my pocket. Crazy stuff.
I appreciate you, brother. I love your energy, man. I'm definitely gonna rock with y'all, man. I definitely appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Sorry, I ranted off. I just wanted you guys
No,
to get fired
I
up.
love it. I love it, man.
It's fired up. Giancarlo, do you have any more time for questions? I know it's your ladies' B-Day. You're on mute, so I don't know if you're talking to your lady.
Yeah, I was confirming. Yeah, we can. I see some hands up. Jake and Larry, what's up, Jake?
Oh, I just have one more quote. You mentioned that iRecord earlier. I tried looking that up. What exactly was that again?
Yeah, you're not gonna find that on Google, to be honest. That's just more internal. I'm telling you from like a agent standpoint, you know, it's more like inside info. But basically, if you apply for the state program, like, and by the way, there's a website. I don't know if you guys want me to post it here. That'll give you access to the whole map. And all you have to do is click on the state and they'll take you directly to the state's website for the homeowner assistance fund program. I could try to grab it right now to answer it. Basically, the iRecord is just the state requesting information on behalf of the servicer. So when you apply for the state program, if they're able to send over the information to the servicer saying, hey, how much do they owe? How much does Mr. Smith owe? Then usually that in itself will be enough to put the foreclosure or auction date on halt for up to 45 days. The thing is, I wouldn't use the half to really stall, but it's something that if you have like maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month of time, you can kind of put in there. Maybe it'll do it. My go-to to stall would be the options we mentioned today, or even a loan mod packet is better. The thing is, you have to complete it thoroughly. I'm gonna put in the chat right now, the website you need to access it from any state. I just put it in there right there. So if you guys just copy that down, you'll see that some states are grayed out, like some states are not active, most of them are. Some of them are like, they're dragging. Some of these deals are gonna be like, you know, take you months and months to complete, but it'll be worth it when all the arrears are gone. So yeah, Jake, to answer your question, it's only when the state actually requests info from the servicer, when they're like, hey, how much does Mr. Smith owe? That request can postpone the auction.
Okay. Gotcha. I appreciate it, Giancarlo. Yeah, I'm gonna get back with that lady and see what she says and let her know we might have to file bankruptcy if she wants to get something out of it. So I appreciate it.
Of course, if you have any questions, man, just reach out to us. We'll help you out.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
I will do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. I don't see any hands up. Any last questions? Powerhouse?
Looks like we're good to go. Giancarlo, thank you, man. Giancarlo, thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for stopping by. Everybody who had some good value. If you guys got some value, type yes in the side chat and go ahead and show some Giancarlo some love. You know, go ahead and maybe take a photo of this, repost it, put it on your social media, tag him, put him on your story, et cetera, but show us some love. He came in on a day off when he could be with his wife on her birthday, enjoying it, right? So thank you so much, Giancarlo. I appreciate it. Much love, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. You guys have a good weekend.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Love it, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we call you today, Carlos?
Absolutely. I'm working 7 days a week.
He's like,
Yes, sir. We're hopping on them phones right now, baby. I'm about to call Carlito here in a little bit to close
Yeah,
the
we're
deal.
all getting ready to work right now, so we're ready to rock every
Okay,
day,
wow,
7 days a week.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Let's
you.
do this.
Karen.
Powerhouse way. We never stop sleeping.
Powerhouse, blow it up.
Yeah,
I just
let's
got
go.
landed on a flight last night at 11 a.m. 11 p.m. too. Let's run it, Carlos. I'll talk to you soon.
We
All
get
right.
fired up right here.
Hell yeah, Cameron.
He came in hot.
That boy need to chill out. He's on one.
That's amazing. But we all need to hook up with him. He got some fire going right now.
Bottle some of that up.
Right, Josh? For real. All right, Powerhouse.
You guys have a good day. I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.